Yes.
You're
This
going
is
to
a
do that
great
today,
platform. Yeah, I'm a big fan of AirMate. It's good. Well, hello everybody. I'm back. I haven't moved, but the conference has moved on. That was a great session we just had with Sean at Zoom Info, and I am honored and blessed to introduce the next guest. I call him by his nickname because I can't say his first name. Ray, how are you today?
I'm very good, David. I'm very good. Yeah, the full name is pretty much difficult to pronounce for anything that is not French or Latin. It's Aurelien, if you want to try, but I'm gonna save you the expense. Ray is good.
Thank you. Ray, thanks for jumping on, and thanks to Operatix for helping us to run the great 2022 Outsourced Industry Survey. We're just honored and so grateful for your support on this.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, David. I think the first time I met you, you were just starting Tenbound, still going. We know what it is to start a business. I love what you are doing. As I said to you many times, I think there is not enough people who are trying to help other sales professional organization, particularly around the sales development piece. So as soon as we knew that you are doing a bit of a research, we wanted to help, which we think is normal. It's about helping the community.
Absolutely. And I mean, this is a big endeavor. When we interact with executives. And so, essentially Tenbound works with executives on the go-to-market side, CMOs and VPs of sales, who sales development is one of their responsibilities, the managers and directors like Sean from Zoom Info, and then all the SDRs, especially on the executive side. They're wondering, they need pipeline. They need sales pipeline, and they're doing a ton of marketing activities. They're building their brand. They've got a great sales team, but they don't have enough pipeline. And so they will hire an SDR team. They'll have a great SDR manager. But one of the pieces of the puzzle, especially if they're going after a niche market, is, should we get involved? Should we use an outsourced agency, an outsourced SDR agency? And that's one of the burning questions. And they start to go on to Google and talk to their friends, and there's just not a lot of good benchmark reporting on that topic. Mm-hmm. And so this is the second year that we've run the great Tenbound Operatix Sales Development Outsource Survey. And so just to give you that context, we got over 250 responses asking a series of questions on how people think about hiring an outsourced agency, and when it's the right move, and what their sentiment has been on working with companies like yours. So Ray, when I first met you, I was consulting with a cybersecurity company.
Right.
And if you remember, you came in and did a presentation. It was terrific. And you, in starting the company, really focused on building pipeline in the cybersecurity area. Is that right?
Yeah, we started with cybersecurity. We are agnostic now. So we have MarTech, FinTech, lots of infrastructure, still a lot of cyber. It's a very incestuous world. People get acquired, move on to another company. They take us with them. I guess the brands are not the most loyal because they do their stuff. A PE company, PE firm gets involved, or people sell out and want to move on to somewhere else. But the individual, the actual contributor, the VP marketing, the VP sales, the CMO, the CRO, the CEOs are relatively loyal to us and always come back to us when they start their new venture. So we've had that side that has been doing very well. But now cybersecurity only represents around 30% of our revenue. And we are doing much more in terms of big data, infrastructure, MarTech, FinTech. So we have created pods. So what we believe that you need to be an expert in what you do. So we've got pods of expertise for each of those different type of solution. And it's about understanding what people speak around the board table, really. And if you want to be good at proactive, it's not about your product, it's not about your value proposition, it's about what's happening in those organizations. So intelligence on what's going on, it's what's fueled the success of our team.
Yep. And if you, there's a lot of ways to think about this. So as a leader of sales development, you want to think the next level up in your organization. What are the CMOs and VPs really concerned about? And one of the main pieces is we need to build pipeline. And so that's when it comes down. Do we hire an internal team? Do we use an outsourced team? Do we blend the two? What's our next move here? And so one of the key characteristics, I'll get into the survey, but one of the key characteristics that you mentioned is the expertise in the industry that you're calling on, and understanding the industry and the personas and the vocabulary to the degree that you're almost fluent in that, and you can be more effective in your messaging.
100%. I mean, the way I would have characterized it is speed. CMOs, CROs, they need speed, particularly if you're speaking to an early stage company or if you're speaking to a scale up, they want speed. The day they made the decision to outsource, they're already 3 months behind, right? So they want you to get going. The expectations are really high, and the first 30, 60, 90 days are absolutely critical. I think speed is the most important aspect that the CMOs and CROs are looking for, and the expertise is linked to it, because if you know the market, if you've got data in the market, if you know the accounts, if you know what's happening in this organization, of course that will help the speed. So I would say speed is probably the most predominant things that those guys are after.
Yep. And one of the big questions that we get at Tenbound is, should I just outsource the whole SDR team, which is kind of scary, because I grew up in the 80s, right? And so if you got outsourced, it means you were essentially thrown out on the street. It was a bad time, but that's the main question. Or should I have only an in-house team, or potentially blend? So let's dive into the survey, because we go into some of those questions.
Sure.
Yep. Okay. So the respondents, people-wise. So interesting on this front is that most of the people that responded are in a managerial role or an executive role. So they're thinking about this, and the survey appealed to them because they really wanted to get a free copy of the report, which we have. Actually, it's in the chat from Operatix. And so they want to understand which of these should I do, and create that benchmark. Most of the companies that responded are in the US, just a smattering from Europe. And that's probably because Tenbound is based in the US, and most of the people that are involved in this are in the US. And then average sale price is pretty much across the board, but the meaty part is a mid-size to sort of entry-level enterprise deal. I just want to share, I'm getting a SDR call right now, live on the interview, and it's marked as spam. So we did a interview a while ago on how to get around that. So make sure if your calls are being marked with spam, you have to do some stuff on the back end. But anyways, how long is your average deal cycle? So again, we're getting into like the entry level enterprise, and that could be, again, the people that we're focused on, because Ray, I know a lot of your clients, they are actually large deal enterprise accounts that you work with. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's correct. I think we've developed a bit of a reputation to help disruptive vendors, and we like to operate in the enterprise world. We like to be a little bit more account based, maybe, than some other companies. We do a fair amount of, I can see on the slide you've got here, like appointment setting, inbound sales. These are the classic services, right? But the account-based outbound, I think, is really something that, not only our clients are struggling to do, but other agencies don't know where to start. And this is a bit of an art about, how do you open the door and how do you then do the deep dive in the account when you're selling something and there is multi-buyer persona, and you want that to create that consensus where everybody can make a decision and decide for the solution. So I find quite interesting that the event registration is low, but that's probably due to COVID and the fact that people are struggling to get face-to-face into events. But what I would say is that event registration should be part of an appointment setting or an account-based outbound program. I don't really understand why people do ad hoc around, you know what, you've got a month, David, here is a list of 200 people, I want 10 attendants. I think that's not quality. I think what should happen is we work together. We are your team, okay? We are targeting those people anyway, and the event should only be one call of action or call to action, okay? So you could almost use the event as an excuse to go back to a nurturing pot, or you could use the event as a way to get someone that doesn't want to have an appointment with you. Because that's the problem of appointment setting campaign. You call prospects because you want an appointment with them. And sometimes because you want the appointment so bad, you forgot to focus on the essence of the conversation. And when you focus on the essence of the conversation, you often get what I would say as a byproduct, that meeting coming your way anyway. So it's kind of interesting the way it works. But yeah, we all do services are things that we do. Lead generation, not so much. We leave that to marketing if I've got a good understanding of lead generation. And list management, again, I think we will be too expensive. We don't offshore any resources. So, if you want to do list management, do it somewhere cheap. Don't do it with people based in London or Dallas or San Jose.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually really surprising to me because if you think about it, like a funnel, sort of the very, very top of the funnel is just identifying people, getting them some information, maybe getting them interested in attending an event and things like that. And yet the number one, almost 20% of the respondents was appointment setting, which is like way down the funnel. I mean, they have to know about you. They got to kind of trust you, and they've got to give you 15% of your time. So that was surprising, actually.
Yeah, but the outbound appointment setting is, again, I think we'll come back to your question later about what they should do. Should they outsource everything or not? But it's more, I think it's more difficult. The appointment setting and the account-based outbound is more difficult for inside teams for the simple reason they tend to be brainwashed about the product and the functionalities. And if you lead an outbound conversation with functionalities and how your product is the best on the market, people won't respond to that. People respond about what their problems are, what issues they are facing. And if you can't correlate the two, your chances of getting an appointment are really slim. So asking people what they would outsource, I'm not surprised appointment is coming up. I'm a bit surprised that outbound sales is not a little bit higher, because we see a lot of people that want more like of complete sales cycles and they want to outsource that completely, particularly for mid-market stuff. But there you go.
Yeah, and I'll cut to the chase. I mean, what we recommend really is that you have both, because you can see, in talking with Ray, that the learnings and the insights and the expertise that an outsource agency can bring can feed into the learning and the playbook of your internal team, and it can go back and forth. With an outsourced agency, you don't have the talent pipeline, to work into that Sean was just talking about in ZoomInfo, but you can get better results faster at the same time. So why not have both? But anyway, that's just, overall recommendation that we make when people ask about this. And I think if you look at the next question, does it ever make sense to completely outsource? We got a strong response. It was like 68%. Either strongly or slightly agree. And, that's counterintuitive, because What are your thoughts on that?
First and foremost, imagine if we sponsor the survey and you have only people disagreeing with it. So I'm quite glad it's going our way. Yeah? Woo. That's it. I can relax now.
That was lucky.
Now, I think you made a very good point. I believe it's a question of stage in your life. Okay. You come out. If I take an example, when I was a student and I had to paint a wall or fix something in my house, I would probably go to the shop, buy some paint, and do it myself. I would not outsource. Didn't really have the money to do it. Could do it myself. It was not a big place or whatever. Now I outsource absolutely pretty much everything. Okay, because I'm in a position where I need my time back. And quite frankly, if someone else do it, they probably are likely to do it better than me. But I was not in that mindset, right? So
yeah,
I think there is that. I think you made a fantastic point about people should outsource when you outsource to the right company, you should get insight that really helps you to understand what's happening in your market, what the prospects are saying, what's the voice of the customer, what are the systems that I should use, what sequence should I build, what's my SDR playbook looks like, etc., etc. If you work with an expert, and I say that to lots of clients who ask me the question, should I outsource, should I not outsource? Well, I say to them, I say, look, you are smart people. You will not be on that job being paid big money in a tech startup or a tech scale-up if you are not smart. So quite frankly, you can do it yourself. If you come to us, you can either do it in 3 months, 6 months and get it to work. But if you do it on your own, it may take you 9 months, 12 months to figure out how to make it work. So really, it's a question of how quickly do you need it? Mm-hmm. And when you get to that conversation, that's why I think people are more keen to outsource in the first place. It's for the speed of execution again, getting to the results.
Yeah, I think of when my dishwasher stopped working, and I could spend 5 hours on YouTube and buying all these manuals, and I swear I could fix it at some point. But
my wife
called the guy.
Wife doesn't allow me to take the toolbox out of the garage anymore. Like, no.
She sounds like a lovely woman.
She knows me well.
So it's good. So yeah, and again, we got great results from it. So it definitely works. So if they're thinking, they're like, okay, we have an internal team, we love them, they're doing a great job, but we need more pipeline and we need it fast. We need an expert in the industry. How do we set up an agency for success to either integrate or to take over the sales development program?
Yeah, so that's a fantastic topic. That's actually a topic that we are looking at in a lot of detail with our customer success team, our sales team, and our operation guys. The reason why we're looking at it in details is that we've had a little bit less satisfaction from newish clients towards the second half of 2021, and I think the reason behind that is we've been a little bit victim of our success. And we have a good reputation in the market, and word of mouth go that Operatix fix all your problem. Okay, so people come, and our sales team would probably not bring enough friction in the process. So people come, we get things going very quickly, we get going, and then we find another hurdle, we try to fix it, we obviously calibrate, but perception can go up very quickly. Okay. So now what we are doing is really working on that enablement, okay, and setting expectation. Spending time with our prospect, really bringing friction in the cycle, almost telling them this is the list of things that could go wrong. And this is the process we've got for every single one of them. And we wanted to show you that because no matter if you do it with us or with someone else or on your own, these are the issues that we will face, okay? So I think that's extremely important. The other thing is that we need to agree with clients that enablement is one thing, but nobody comes out of an onboarding and knows how to do something. So ongoing training is also very important. How do we do that ongoing training? Treating the team as an extension. Again, if you're going to outsource, don't treat them as a supplier. Don't treat them as a third party or people that are lower. Just bring them as part of the team. Make them feel good. Work on the psychology. If people like you, they will work harder for you. If they don't like you, you'll struggle to get things from them. Okay. So that's kind of common sense. But again, sometimes we've got clients that don't turn up to weekly business review, don't turn up to monthly business review, and they expect it's fine because they are busier than us. But when you don't get the support, when you don't get the love, it's a bit difficult to give the love back. Okay. So if you want 100% of the people, you've got to make them feel good. Understanding the challenge of running a team. I mean, again, it's kind of coming back to bringing the friction. There will be turnover in an SDR team. You know, in your previous conversation with Sean, is that Sean? Yeah. I just want to make sure I don't murder his name. He was talking about people being promoted internally. Okay. What we suggest to our clients is when we're going to introduce you to your BDR, SDR, have a chat about their career path so they can tell you what they want to do. Maybe you've got an opportunity for them. Maybe we can work together to get that guy or that girl working on the program for 9 months, 12 months, feel great, do a good job, and then we'll help them to move to the next part of their career path. Okay. But being very clear and transparent about it is refreshing. You know, when we've got clients saying, no, David's got to stay on my company. I don't care if he's got all the right attributes to become a manager. He's a great BDR SDR for me. If you remove him, I'm leaving you guys. Usually we say to the clients, okay, go. Because it's people first. It's those guys have worked 6 months, 9 months, 10 months, 18 months on your program. Now they want to progress. Guess what? I was that guy. You were that guy, David. We all have been those guys. We've got to give them their chance. So these are the things that are also very important. And then the last one is using the insights provided. You know, it sounds bizarre, but sometimes people get with us or get with an outsourcer and they kind of force you the way of doing things. And what I love the most, the best example is someone coming up and say, oh, I've got a script. Say, okay, show me your script. And I say, yeah, it's the script that we use with the last 3 agencies. And then we use it with a team that we built internally. Never really worked, but I'm pretty sure that with your reputation, you guys will make it work. So you just take it, tear it apart and say, no, let us lead. Let us show you. Let us give you the guidance. And sometimes some of our clients, they don't like some of the feedback we've got to give them because it's extra work, because it's not as easy and plain sailing as they were expecting it to be. But you know, in any relationship, I think you need friction if you want it to grow. And that's what we are trying to do because, when it's too easy, when clients come because their friend told you that you are the best thing since sliced bread, they come in, they just give you everything they've got. They don't negotiate. They don't want to ask the question. You go, and then they realize that it's not what they were expecting because their perception was perfect. And it's average because at the beginning of a program is difficult, right? So you've got to accept calibration. That's where the issue comes. But so what I would say is bit of friction, treat the team as an extension of yours, as your friends, as your kids, or whoever, but give them respect and you're going to get respect back, and use the insight that we your outsourcer will provide to get better.
Completely. And as part of the survey, we did interviews with 5 or 6 top sales and marketing leaders, and it's exactly to your point. One of the thought process of a lot of people outsourcing is set it and forget it. You know, it's like, here, Ray, I've got this huge, big, ugly problem. You take it. I got to go do something else. And that's where it sort of goes off the rails, right? Because you've got to be involved. You would never do that with an internal SDR team unless you were really lousy, VP or director. You wouldn't just set them up and put them in the corner and think that they're going to produce. But people do that with the outsource agencies that they work with.
And last comment on that is the amount is probably, I would say that around 80% of the clients that leave us for that perception and say, oh yeah, well, you know what, I will do it. It's going to be better if I do it myself. I would say that 80% come back to us 6 months later after trying it themselves. And they just come back and say, you know what? Okay, guys. All right. We get it now. And sometimes you need that. It's an important step because, again, the grass looks greener. So let's go that way. But it doesn't taste as nice. It's just so. you know,
there's no silver bullet, and it's interesting because we see this at our clients. It's a pendulum. They'll go, I'm going to try in-house SDR. It doesn't work. We'll get rid of them. We'll go with an agency. That didn't work. We'll go back to it. And then people are always coming in and out of the company. They only stay at the company for 1 or 2 years, and then they move to the next company. And it's just this ongoing, it doesn't create an excellent pipeline production machine. It's this jalopy. I don't know if you're familiar with that. I've got time for one more question, Ray. This has been so interesting. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. And I forgot to mention also, visit the booths. You can get a free copy of the report that we're talking about for planning. You can meet with the Operatix team. They're over in the virtual booth and get more information. And also Zoom Info, and the other sponsors have their booth there. One last question from Ido at, I hope I'm saying that right, TCK. I've met him before. He's developing a sweet intelligence product. How do you get your intelligence to your SDRs and BDRs so that they can come up to speed quickly and have something interesting to say? Yeah.
So we've built, we've when we were all in the office and we were a small company, we used to call it the Meerkat System. The Meerkat are those little things that just stand up, and if they see something, they just speak to each other and they all know, and then they go in the hole together. That was the Meerkats, right? So you've got the separator, and you just pop your head and you just say, you know what, I've got this, I've got that. The intelligence was flowing that way. With GDPR and things like CCPA in the US, you've got to be a little bit more careful with what you're handling. But what we've built, because I appreciate we need to be conscious of time, is that for every single one of our clients, we found a system that is basically a multi-tenancy CRM. So we can run a campaign in their own little silo, in their own little environment, but we have a two-way synchronization with a platform that we call CID, Central Intelligence Database. So basically, if you, David, you're gonna call onto an account, update some contact details, update some intelligence on the account, such as, okay, those guys are looking at reducing operational costs by 20%. Okay, we can't say they have a project around this, we can't say this or that, because we can't have information flowing from one client to the other, but the overarching intelligence, which is checked by a quality team, will then go into the system. Which means that if you are, if your colleague John, who is working in another state, is kind of targeting the same accounts but for another company, that 20% increase of productivity or efficiency, they will get a pop-up saying that company that is in your target list are looking after that, and basically, do you have a value proposition that is relevant to that? So, Central Intelligence Database, multi-tenancy CRM, and basically 250 people that are cleansing our data every day worldwide, which are the people doing the job.
Wow. Okay. So, and I'm going to connect you with Ido because his technology is amazing. So, it sounds like you got it all figured out, but you could always use some more. So, Ray, thank you again. Thank you for supporting the survey. Sure. Everybody, go to the booth, grab the survey, talk to Operatix. And next up, James Barton, who is an amazing sales development leader in the cybersecurity space. Ray, you should jump into this next one.
Absolutely.
He's going to talk about, he's been going up through the ranks to run huge sales development programs, and he's going to share his 5 pearls of wisdom with us for sales development leadership. Ray, thank you so much for jumping on, and we'll see you in the next talk.
Absolutely. Pleasure. Thank you, David.